So I'm live now. This is my second attempt tonight because the first time I did not tweet it out. And apparently, when you go live, you want people to watch what you're doing as opposed to just talking to nothing. See, there's a little bit of a lag here. Hopefully, that's not too bad. But yeah, we're going to talk about the Celtics' big win tonight as I continue to try to understand what YouTube Live means, what it is. Hopefully, we'll have some people in the chat tonight because my sister, with her 20-something thousand followers, said, "Hey, go watch my brother." It put a lot of pressure on me, a lot of pressure to perform and be a dynamic host of what will be a 5-minute session of me talking on my couch about the Celtics. Having watched by myself, by the way, because I was abandoned by my sister, other sister, not Roxy, abandoned by my dad, abandoned by my friend. No one wanted to watch the game with me tonight. My wife watched about 3 minutes of the game while on her phone. My cat didn't even watch the game with me. So it was all me doing what I do, being here, breaking down the Celtics games for you after the game, breaking it down to just the blank wall in my background and to the shirt on my back because sometimes no one will be here. I don't mind just talking to myself, though. That's the thing. I can talk to myself all day. I don't care. I'll just talk to myself. Whatever. Let's talk about, hey, Jet, you want to talk about the Celtics? Yeah, we'll talk about the Celtics team. No big deal. All right, good win for the Celtics tonight. They dominated pretty much the whole way through. Was never really in doubt. It was Jaylen Brown's return from a illness, apparently a pretty bad illness, where he had to see the doctor on 3 separate occasions, had an infection going. Not good, especially with how well he started out the season. But he came back and looked pretty strong. Looked like he hadn't really missed a beat. Maybe was a little bit fatigued, but other than that, played 32 strong minutes. The big story coming into the game tonight, though, was Kemba Walker's return to Charlotte. It was Kemba Walker night, was the hashtag on Twitter, and you could see the love that the Hornets fans had for him, as they've had basically no other good players to root for since the Bobcats came into existence. They've had Kemba Walker and Emeka Okafor and like Ben Gordon a little bit. So that's about when, and that was after he was on the Bulls. It's been a crap fest in Charlotte. Kemba Walker is like a god there amongst the fans who actually care about Charlotte Hornets and previously Charlotte Bobcats basketball, which isn't that many, because if you could see from the and hear from the game on the TV, whether you're watching on local TV or on TNT on the national spot, it's not that loud in the Charlotte building. But it was loud whenever Kemba Walker checked in or touched the ball. They do love Kemba there. He had an okay game for himself. He finished plus 20 in the plus minus column, which was good for tied for the team lead. But he was a little shaky shooting the ball. 4 of 12 from the floor, 3 of 9 from three-point land. Finished with 14 points and 6 assists. Solid, if not spectacular, stat line from Kemba Walker. When the Hornets went on a little bit of a run, though, he steadied the tie for the Celtics with a couple of big threes. That was certainly helpful. The best player on the floor tonight for the Celtics, again, was Gordon Hayward, who's starting to round back into all-star form. I think 20 points tonight for him to go with 6 assists and 10 rebounds. Again, look just really confident and steady on the court. He's really putting an emphasis on putting his head down, shoulder down, driving the basket, making good passes when he's double-teamed and his lane is impeded going to the hoop. So that's stuff that you were not seeing from Hayward last year. He's such a smart player that he typically makes the correct play. It's all about, though, being aggressive and going to the basket, and Hayward did that tonight. He's been doing it mostly all season long. So Hayward, again, for the second game in a row, was the best player on the court, regardless of team. So he looks early in the season. The early returns are Gordon Hayward looks like an all-star. That's great news for the Celtics, and I think unexpected news, because most people were expecting similar Gordon Hayward to last year. He's been head and shoulders better already through just a few games than he was last year. Jason Tatum had a really nice night for himself, 23 points, played excellent defense. Though I'll say this about Tatum. He's got to stop complaining to the referees. It's brutal. I mean, it is nonstop bitching to the referees. He's going to get himself tossed out of a bunch of games. He just can't help himself. Everybody in the world knows the NBA referees stink. They're just bad. But you're not going to get the call every time. You're certainly not going to get the call when you're complaining to them constantly. So Tatum needs to curb it on that. I get it. The refs suck. They're terrible. And no one likes them. No one thinks they do a good job. but constantly bitching and complaining to them. He's never going to get a call in this league if that's his reputation. But other than that, Tatum played a really good game. Was strong offensively, 8 of 17 from the floor, 4 of 6 from three. He had 9 points to go at rebounds to go at 23 points. And again, like I said, really strong, solid defense. He's improved a lot as a defender this year. You can see his instincts are better. Rounding out the starters, we talked about everybody else except for Daniel Tice, who I thought was meh tonight. He had 2 blocks, but he wasn't really protecting the rim like it was the past few games. Only 2 of 8 from the floor. He was okay, give or take. He was fine. Whatever. Marcus Smart, I thought this wasn't his best game. He always brings energy and makes plays, but he got into foul trouble. He almost got into a fight, which he's one of the last players in the league I'd want to fight. I don't know why anybody doubts the toughness of Marcus Smart. He literally in college went into the stands to attack a fan. That's somebody who's you don't want to pick a fight with. That's the legitimate crazy man. So I thought he was not great tonight. Not his best game. He didn't hurt the team, which that's what you're looking for, I guess. Celtics bench needs a lot of work though. Smart certainly helps coming off the bench, but they're getting very little production. Otherwise, actually, they're dead last in the league in scoring off their bench. You can't have the starters carry such a big load all the time. That sounded dirtier than I wanted it to. But you can't have them carry such a heavy burden. That's much better all the time. And expect to be able to make a deep run in the playoffs. You need to get some production out of your bench. I like what I saw out of Javonte Green last night, somebody that was the last guy on the roster in terms of making the team. He showed exactly what he did in the preseason, in the summer league, and training camp. He came in, he made a difference offensively. He's just so athletic and plays so hard that he's always looking to take the ball to the basket and always playing aggressive. And for a second unit guy to have that mentality to try to drive hard to the basket and make aggressive plays, that's exactly what you're looking for there. He brings a lot of energy, and he brings a lot of confidence. And I think he's somebody that's showing every time he steps on the court, he deserves more minutes. So maybe that'll help out the Celtics bench a little bit if they give Javonte Green a little bit more playing time. I certainly think he deserves it. From the Hornets side, this is their problem. They've got a bunch of okay players, but they don't have a star. Obviously, Kemba Walker left and they'll go to the Celtics in the offseason, but they're not bad enough where they're going to be in the mix for a top player. So they're in a terrible spot where they're not good enough to make the playoffs realistically, but they're going to be too good to be vying for one of those top 3 or 4 spots in the lottery. I like what I see from some of the young players like PJ Washington and Miles Bridges and Dwayne Bacon and Devontae Graham. I think they're all good young players. I even like Malik Monk, who still is trying to carve out a niche for himself in the league, but I think could be a good player in the right situation. But they're just that's too many C+ to B- level players for the team to be terrible and nowhere close to an A-level player. I mean, the guy who they spent big money on this offseason that I think everybody laughed about and is proving to be true was Terry Rozier. You would think if he's going to have a good game, it'll be tonight against the Celtics, sort of a revenge game. He went out and shot 1 of 11 from the floor and turned the ball over 4 times. Good for a -14. He was awful tonight. And anybody who saw him play last year knew he wasn't going to be worth that money and wasn't really a starter on a good team in this league. So a rough day for Rozier. Not a great game for the Hornets overall, in a team that's played above their heads to 500 right now. They're 4-4 after this game. The Celtics moved to 6-1, tied for the best record in the league. They have the best record in the Eastern Conference. They head to San Antonio on Saturday, mid-afternoon game. If you're on the East Coast, that should be a good test for the Celtics going on the road to a place that's always going to be well-coached and well-prepared with Greg Popovich. They have veterans there in DeMar DeRozan, who's always given the Celtics trouble. LaMarcus Aldridge, who dominated the Celtics last year. We'll see how they react to that type of team, especially coming off of what will be just not as much a usual rest as they're going to get just a day and then part of a day. So we will see. Good win for the Celtics tonight. Again, they moved to 6-1. I'm really good at YouTube Live. I've determined that. I tweeted out the link successfully. I think that I'm crushing this right now. Mike is in the chat. Most improved player of the year, Gordon Hayward. He's going to be the comeback player of the year and maybe most improved player of the year. Or are you talking about your boy Jaylen Brown? I want to know who's it going to be. The Celtics say they maybe have the case for a couple of awards this year by the way they're playing. Granted, it's just 8 games in the season. I don't know. All I know is I am really good at YouTube Live. Thank you all. I can't believe we got 10 million people to watch this. That is great. That's a new record for me. Let's go for 15 million viewers tomorrow. I think we can get there, or on Saturday. Maybe I'll just go live tomorrow for the hell of it. Who knows? Dominated. Great job by me. Thank you, everybody, for participating and coming in the chat. Thanks to all 10,500,063 of you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Take care. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. Enjoy your Friday, and then I'll talk to you this weekend. All right. See ya.